Center. I'm Josh Benton. This is Aaron Horowitz from Sproutel, Providence-based, super cool R&D, innovation, developing new, wildly interesting products. Tech plus fluffy, you've got it all.
Absolutely. So our company Sproutel, we are a nail on the head, a research and development workshop, and we're focused on creating all sorts of play-based healthcare innovations. So I have actually with me here today two of our first products to give you an example of what a play-based healthcare tool looks like. This little guy, can you say hello?
Hello, Duck.
This is called My Special Aflac Duck, which we designed for children with cancer. And it's a really good example of how we work. We collaborated with Aflac, the insurance company, who was interested in creating something to make a difference in the lives of children with cancer. And we spent about 18 months developing this duck with over 100 children.
Really?
Yeah.
And were they children who had cancer?
Absolutely, yeah. So we collaborated with a hospital down in Atlanta. We visited about once a month. And we learned all sorts of things, like that these children have difficulty communicating their feelings. So we developed this visual way for children to articulate how they feel and communicate with their doctors. And all of this is really indicative of the process that we take, which is a patient-centered design process, working with the people who are experiencing problems to design things with them.
And when did you design this? Was this the first?
This is actually our second product.
That's right. I thought. And when was this developed?
So we began development in 2017. We launched in 2018, and we actually just began shipping them and delivering them to families in September of this year. So we've so far reached about 2,000 children at over 100 hospitals.
And does Aflac underwrite that distribution structure?
Exactly. So right. Aflac has donated a duck to every child newly diagnosed with cancer who would like one.
Oh my God. And you know, talk about a mission and cause in what you're doing every day. You can't make any mistakes on this one, right? The pressure is really on. How has it been in having the time, energy, resources to be able to go through that collaborative process without somebody standing over your shoulder saying, we got to get to market, we got to get to market?
Yeah, and so I mean, that's been certainly something that we deal with. We were founded in 2012, and so we've been around for quite a little bit. And with the Duck, for example, we had a great partner in Aflac. We set out our goals and our milestones from the very beginning of our working relationship of when we wanted to launch this little fella.
Right.
And we're able to hit those. But certainly as we do work with other partners and as we do work on products we have ourselves, we're always kind of balancing, done, the old adage, right? Done is better than finished.
Right.
Well, for physical products, they have to be finished because they have to be toy safety tested or just safety tested in general. And so it's always a balance between how much more work we want to do to make something just right and then when we need to hit a timeline to get it
You
shipped.
really don't want a memo from the Consumer Product Safety Council on a product for children with cancer. Like that is definitely a no-no.
Yeah, so we, for things like that, when we're working with really sensitive populations, we, from the very, very beginning, are designing to exceed all of the safety standards by quite a margin.
And then as you're developing the product, you've got a concept. You've done R&D. You've gotten some collaboration from that user group, that potential user group. How do you bundle that and then make sure that the realization of the manufacturing has the same payoff? Where are you manufacturing?
Yeah, so we for both our Jerry the Bear, our teddy bear for children with diabetes, and My Special Aflac Duck, those are made overseas.
Yeah.
And it's actually because that is where we found the vendor network with the best expertise.
Absolutely.
So when you talk to Hasbro, they're manufacturing their goods at these same factories, and it's actually how we're able to piggyback on a lot of the very high level of safety standards that are set by the industry.
Jerry the Bear was your first?
Yeah. So this is our first product. He's an interactive teddy bear for children with type 1 diabetes. And this is kind of very exemplative as well of this notion of working with our end user to collaboratively develop products. So Jerry was born from this insight of seeing children with diabetes inject their own stuffed animals.
Right.
We said, like, hey, why are kids doing this? Why are they pricking the fingers of their teddy bears? And it was because they were acting out everything that was going on in their lives with play, with the language they knew how to speak. And so we went through a very similar process to the duck of working with children to figure out exactly the best ways for Jerry to provide comfort and joy.
That's great. How many Jerrys have been distributed today?
Oh, man. To date, we've sold, just under 10,000 bears.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Other products that you're developing, and then what's the bandwidth limitation?
So that's actually a really interesting question. So we are very excited to be working with some new partners in very different new spaces. So we're working now in the very early stages of things for the elderly population, as well as one commonality in a lot of our products is helping children manage their feelings. And so we're exploring that category a little bit more depth with a partner. It's funny you bring up bandwidth. We were chatting a little bit earlier about, what are some challenges that businesses face, and actually something that is both exciting and a challenge for us is that we're hiring. Yeah. And we're looking to expand the team. So call to action for everybody watching, hiring for a designer and an office manager and a few other positions in a few months. We're actively growing bandwidth on the team.
So we'll hopefully pay a key strategic partnership in doing your job recruiting for
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. How you've gotten a fair amount of PR off the development of both these products, and they're great stories, and you've done them, obviously with great partners. What's the limitations? I mean, obviously children and the elderly, but this has potential ramifications in all sorts of applications in any number of different vertical markets.
Yeah, so we like to, we get really passionate about problems.
Right.
The more challenging the problem, the more exciting it is for us. So we have this expertise in working with kids, and that's where we've really have a lot of institutional knowledge in terms of the way that kids are processing information, different developmental stages, and how we custom tailor education and comfort through these types of play tools. But just as you indicated, our underlying process is very rooted in this human-centered design methodology, and that is applicable across a range of different verticals. And so this year is actually the first time that we've stepped a little bit outside of pediatrics and actually into geriatrics, the other side of the spectrum. But as we work, obviously the user group, the patient population is so very different, but our underlying methodology definitely holds true, and it's exciting to be now tackling new challenges and kind of have a fresh set of eyes into a whole different population.
Both these products were originally developed for the U.S. market. Have you seen how they need to be potentially transformed for global markets and different cultural issues?
Yeah, that's actually something that's been really exciting with Jerry the Bear. So we developed Jerry. We initially sold them in the U.S., and for the past 2 years, we've been selling globally.
Yeah.
And we found that almost, we have countries like New Zealand who, an incredible nonprofit New Zealand, lobbied and got a Jerry the Bear for every child with type 1 diabetes in New Zealand. We're very big in the islands in Bermuda. Every child with type 1 diabetes has a Jerry the Bear. We have good reach in Canada and a few other countries, and it's caused us to change a lot of the cultural aspects, exactly to what you were saying. We changed languages, we translated. We have 21 animated storybooks. Jerry the Bear goes on an adventure. He trains for the All-Star Games, learns ski jumping and tree climbing. These are the sports in his bear world.
Right.
But all of those books are now in Spanish and in French, and we love getting in input from those users. And so a lot of the Facebook messages we're getting are videos that people are sending of unboxing their bears. And I think of this really cute little boy in Brazil, just watched a video of him unboxing his bear and pointing out the pump sites and saying, oh, he gets pinchies just like me, he's got a pump just like me.
That's great. What's the limitation for you guys in growth? Obviously, any fast-growing company, especially in kind of this tech world, the danger is taking on too much, not being able to develop the workforce, not being able to retain the workforce. The more successful you become, the more folks are going to come and raid you. How do you keep that organizational, institutional knowledge sustained here and continue to build here?
Yeah, and so for us, we've had a little bit of a slow and intentional view on growth. So from 2012 to almost 2016, we were, incrementally adding maybe a handful of people, 1 to 2 each year, and now we're at the point where we're looking at scaling a little bit more rapidly. And in terms of what are the limitations, for us it is bandwidth.
Yeah.
We're in a situation now where we're thinking really critically about what does the business look like in 6 months, what does the business look like in a year, and if we have a goal of working with X number of partners simultaneously, how are we going to need to do exactly what you're talking about, scale, retain?
And is it Brown engineers? Is it RISD designers? Is it a URI engineer? Is it what's the funnel you need, and how easy is it to develop those relationships?
Yes, all the schools you mentioned, absolutely. We're more interested in the people and the skill sets than necessarily where they gain them. But for us,
but we got a lot of them.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's interesting because we do have a lot of that talent here. I think that one of the things that works against us a little bit are those really talented people leaving the state for jobs, and so we're excited about hopefully being able to retain some of that. Our ideal types of people are people that have worked in industry for a little bit and have cut their teeth on some products, and ideally from seeing something from concept through to production.
Not to be mean to a competitor, but when Hasbro has a layoff, you're a little drooling out of this corner of your mouth.
We've tangentially benefited slightly from that, but obviously very unfortunate.
Yeah. Very exciting. You worked with Commerce on some funding. You got an SBIR, which is great, working with the feds. And then you got a tag-along grant from them.
We did.
Yeah. And what did that allow you to do?
So we worked it with Commerce RI through SBIR, and also on an innovation voucher, which we were thrilled to receive actually with Brown University through their Humanity-Centered Robotics Initiative, both of which on Jerry the Bear. The STAC funding through SBIR allowed us to continue our work on Jerry. It allowed us to start to think through what it would look like to move forward with a Phase 2 grant. And our innovation voucher was really interesting. It's helped us wrap our heads around our next phase of our research and development on the Jerry the Bear product and explore from an engagement standpoint what adding additional technology to Jerry the Bear would get us from a user standpoint. So there's always this question, right? You can make something smarter, you can make it do more. Does it actually add a lot of value to the product? And does it change the way the learning benefits? Does it change perception of the customer? And so this type of funding is really helpful to say, we can develop more, we can make Jerry smarter, should we?
And then do you think about, if you're just constantly making them better, faster, stronger, $6 million man style, or maybe
Daft
it's
Punk,
more,
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Or maybe it's a little iPhone-ish, right? You're up to Jerry the Bear 10. Or should you give respect to Jerry the Bear and make a polar bear that has a different level of function?
So that's actually really interesting, and we're at a point now where we're thinking, it's when you're a small company, you're always thinking about exactly that, improving. And now we're thinking a little bit in terms of development cycles when we pause on features and then we resume a next major update. So we're sort of nearing that place with some of our products, but that just means a really exciting chapter for the new work that we're going to be focusing on.
That's great. And then long term, are you going to raise some significant capital? Do you see that or do you see that you're able to self-fund as you develop?
So we've right now we're in a place where we're self-funding and we're able to bootstrap and to grow at the same pace that we'd like to grow at, and that's really, really exciting. We had raised money in our early days and gone through that cycle.
We went through the same process.
Right, and so know what that's like, have that experience under our belts, and have some great connections. Now, should that be something that it becomes interesting, but I am so thrilled about building a business off of cash flows.
That's great. Yeah, much better life. Congratulations for all the success. And really meaningful work, which is transformative for both the healthcare needs and also just the lives of children. It's really wonderful things. Tomorrow I'll be talking to everybody, figuring out how we can apply Go Local to small children. So congratulations. It's wildly interesting, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right,
thanks for having me.
Here. I want to thank Erin for coming in today and Sproutel for all the success that they've had. Look forward to hearing more from them and as they continue to grow and mature and innovate more and more. As I said earlier, we'll be back tomorrow at the 4 o'clock hour. I've got Commerce Secretary Stephen Pryor. We will be talking about the Superman building, gosh darn it. That might be a location for you guys and all your growth. They're growing so quickly, they could take all 350,000 square feet with a little help from their